In the vibrant chaos of 1970s Britain, where rock music unfurled into realms uncharted, a band emerged from the ashes of pop's fleeting allure to forge a sound that was both defiant and dazzling. Gentle Giant didn't merely play music, they crafted intricate sonic mosaics, demanding listeners immerse themselves fully to unravel their complexities. Hailing from London but shaped by the gritty port town ethos of Portsmouth, this ensemble, centered around brothers Derek, Ray, and Phil Shulman, alongside Gary Green, Kerry Minnear, and a series of drummers, wove together the cerebral precision of Baroque counterpoint, the fiery improvisation of jazz, the earthy resonance of folk, and the raw pulse of rock. Their compositions were not for casual ears. They were labyrinths, rewarding the patient with bursts of revelation. Yet despite their audacious brilliance, Gentle Giant remained a cult phenomenon, overshadowed by the arena-filling spectacles of Yes, Genesis and Pink Floyd. Their legacy lies in their refusal to simplify, embracing a density that mirrored the tangled intricacies of human experience. The origins of Gentle Giant trace to the late 1960s, when the Shulman brothers, Derek on vocals and saxophone, Ray on bass and violin, and Phil on horns and vocals, found themselves constrained by the commercial trappings of Simon Dupree and the Big Sound. This soul pop outfit, formed in Portsmouth, scored a UK top 10 hit with the psychedelic Kites in 1967, but the brothers grew restless under the industry's push for radio-friendly fare. Dissolving the band in 1969, they sought a new path, one that prized artistic freedom over chart success. In London, they joined forces with guitarist Gary Green, whose angular riffs and medieval flutes added a distinctive edge, and Kerry Minnear, a Royal Academy of Music graduate, whose compositional prowess brought classical rigor to their vision. Drummer Martin Smith completed the initial lineup, and in 1970, Gentle Giant was born, its name inspired by the Renaissance tales of Rabelais, evoking a mythical figure both gentle and formidable. Portsmouth's industrial docks and musical household shaped the Shulmans' early years. Their father, a jazz trumpeter, filled their home with sounds of Charlie Parker and classical records, fostering a multi-instrumental fluency. But it was in London's vibrant scene, amid the progressive rock explosion, that Gentle Giant took form. The early 1970s were a crucible for experimentation, with bands like King Crimson and Emerson, Lake and Palmer crafting extended virtuosic works. Gentle Giant stood apart, not by mimicking orchestral grandeur, but by channeling the intimate interplay of a chamber ensemble. Each member's ability to play multiple instruments, violins, cellos, flutes, trumpets, and more, and sing in complex harmonies created a sound that was both cerebral and visceral, a conversation in notes. Their 1970 debut, Gentle Giant, released on Vertigo Records, captured this nascent ambition. Produced by Tony Visconti, the album blended bluesy rock with classical motifs and psychedelic flourishes. Tracks like Giant roared with primal energy, while Alucard, Dracula Reversed, veered into eerie experimentation, its brass and dissonant vocals hinting at their future. Though the production was raw, the album's promise was clear, earning praise for its bold departure from pop norms. Critics at the time, like those at Melody Maker, noted its exploratory spirit, though its complexity baffled some mainstream listeners. By 1971's Acquiring the Taste, the band refined their vision, declaring their intent to stretch music's boundaries. Minnear's influence shone, his training in composition evident in tracks like Pantagruel's Nativity, which wove Rabelaisian themes through layered keyboards and violin. The title track, with its vibraphone and cello, created a chamber-like intimacy, challenging listeners to embrace its density. Fans recall the album's steep learning curve. One Reddit user likened it to falling into a musical puzzle that takes months to solve. Live performances amplified this, with instruments swapped mid-song in a whirlwind of precision, turning stages into a ballet of sound. Lineup changes marked their early evolution. Martin Smith left after the debut, replaced by Malcolm Mortimer for 1972's Three Friends, their first concept album. This narrative of childhood friends diverging in adulthood explored class and ambition through tracks like School Days, where nostalgic melodies met intricate rhythms. Phil Shulman's saxophone added a jazz edge, but his departure in 1973, after Octopus, reshaped the band. Citing the toll of touring on his family life, Phil left a void in vocals and brass, though he contributed fully to Octopus. Mortimer's injury led to John Weathers joining for Octopus's tour, his jazz rock precision anchoring the rhythm section through the band's peak years. Octopus, 1972, often hailed as their first masterpiece, embodied their octo opus ethos with 8 tracks of multifaceted brilliance. The UK cover, featuring a jarred octopus by Roger Dean, contrasted the US version's rampaging beast. Songs like Knots, inspired by R.D. Lying's psychological theories, wove vocal counterpoint into a tapestry of mental tangles, while The Advent of Panurge blended medieval flutes with rock drive. Derek's commanding vocals anchored the chaos, Ray's bass danced melodically, and Minier's keyboards orchestrated intricate dialogues. Live, these tracks expanded into medleys, captivating audiences. A fan at a 1975 Detroit show recalled them outshining Rick Wakeman and Gary Wright, their energy undeniable. This period, from 1972 to 1975, was their creative zenith. Each member's role was integral. Gary Green shunned rock cliches, his guitar and flute crafting melodic folk-infused lines. Minier, the quiet genius, orchestrated with Wurlitzer, Hammond, and Moog, his cello adding Baroque depth. Ray's violin and bass brought chamber intensity and melodic counterpoint. Derek's voice and saxophone delivered lyrical and instrumental bite. Weathers navigated odd meters like 7/8 and 13/8 with fluid precision, his percussion coloring the soundscape. Their vocal harmonies, often a cappella, echoed Renaissance madrigals, treating voices as instruments in a grand conversation. In a Glass House, 1973, plunged into darker territory, a concept album on perception and isolation, its 3D cover a visual metaphor for its themes. Not initially released in the US, it became a cult import. Tracks like The Runaway built tension through dynamic shifts, while Experience layered dissonance for emotional heft. Switching to Chrysalis Records, the band aimed for wider reach without sacrificing depth. The Power and the Glory, 1974, a scathing critique of corruption, balanced accessibility with complexity. Proclamation thundered with angular riffs, its political edge resonating during U.S. tours alongside Jethro Tull, where they often stole the spotlight. Free Hand, 1975, marked their commercial peak, cracking the U.S. top 50. Blending Renaissance influences with jazz and rock, it explored relationships through Just the Same, a funky opener, and On Reflection, a masterclass in a cappella counterpoint. His Last Voyage floated with ethereal melancholy, Minier's keys evoking lost love. Their live prowess shone in 1977's Playing the Fool, a double album from the Interview Tour, capturing extended jams and instrument swaps across European venues. A fan podcast recounts Weathers wearing an Oakland Athletics jersey with number 69, a playful nod to the crowd. But the tides were turning. The rise of punk's raw simplicity clashed with their erudition. Interview, 1976, satirized media scrutiny, born from relentless press tours. Tracks like I Lost My Head retained complexity, but hinted at creative fatigue, as Derek later noted in interviews. Charting at number 137 in the US, it marked a shift. The Missing Piece, 1977, split between progressive gems and straighter rock like Betcha Thought We Couldn't Do It, chasing radio play. Giant for a Day, 1978, leaned heavily pop, alienating purists, though flashes of brilliance remained. Civilian, 1980, released in March after late 1979 sessions, embraced new wave but lacked the old spark. The band's final show at LA's Roxy Theater on June 16, 1980, closed their chapter, exhaustion and diverging paths ending the journey. Post-dissolution, the members carved distinct paths. Derek transitioned to a music executive working in A&R at Polygram, becoming president of Atco and Roadrunner, where he signed acts like Dream Theater, Slipknot, and Nickelback, and revitalized careers like AC/DC's. Ray produced the Sugar Cube's Life's Too Good and worked on soundtracks for Nike and Budweiser, avoiding mainstream commercial projects. Minier managed their catalog through a la carte music, Green gigged locally, and Weathers joined Man. Phil, post-Octopus, ran a gift shop and taught. Ray's death in 2023 at 73 sparked tributes, underscoring his impact. No full reunion occurred, though projects like 2004's Scraping the Barrel box set and the 2008-2015 Three Friends Band offered partial reunions. Gentle Giant's influence, though subtle, is profound. Their rhythmic daring and contrapuntal wizardry inspired prog and metal acts like Spock's Beard, Haken, and Dream Theater. Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull lauded their compositional edge, noting parallels in their approach. Fans on Prog Archives and Reddit lament their underappreciation, citing their lack of radio hits yet celebrate their depth. One ex-post calls them Prog's absolute monster. Rishus, like Steven Wilson's remixes of The Power and the Glory, and 2017's three-piece suite, keep their catalog alive. Derek's 2025 memoir, Giant Steps, offers fresh insights. Podcasts like Aspirations capture fan devotion, sharing concert tales and dissecting their craft. One episode features Greg Bendian analyzing the drummer's evolution, from Smith's raw drive to Weather's finesse. Another highlights journalist Phil Sutcliffe, whose voice graced Interview, championing them in Sounds magazine. Discussions revive memories, like a 1971 show where they headlined over Black Sabbath, prompting walkouts from mismatched fans. Gentle Giant's enduring relevance lies in their defiance of convention, proving rock could marry academic rigor with raw passion. In an era of algorithmic playlists, their intricate soundscapes challenge listeners to engage deeply. Derek once said, "We wanted to do something different, not chase trends." Born in London's progressive ferment, rooted in Portsmouth's musical heritage, their giant footsteps echo through decades, inviting new explorers into a world where complexity breeds timeless wonder.